Hey guys, I'm back. I hope you didn't miss me too much. Who am I kidding? I'm not that relevant yet. I am back looking extra gay today with coincidentally the same shirt I wore in the second to last video, and I've got my Capri Sun Zero because I watched my shape. I took a bit of a break. I needed to detach myself a little from this YouTube grind and I just needed a bit of a rest. But during this serene online retreat, I noticed a very obvious but still super jarring dynamic on the platform. In this video, I'll be covering prominent figures on both the left and the right to showcase a platform-based issue that promotes general harm to healthy discourse. So stick around until the end and explore this worrisome trend with me. Let's dive into the hostile cesspit that is the internet and discover why everyone hates each other. I want to start with a personal anecdote. Looking at my channel, what do you notice? What type of content gets views and attention? Well, it's the aggressive callouts. I give you an enemy to hate on and we unite in this shared hatred of the other person's persona or opinions. And obviously, when you see something that clearly works, you double down. Over time, this automatically reinforces your bias and you start to care less about actual nuance or factual evidence. It's grifting, but it's unintentional. You are incentivized by the system to keep going. And don't get me wrong, I'm not defending the people I've covered so far. I genuinely still believe that many of them carry very harmful views that can have very harmful consequences in real life. But I also believe that many of their beliefs stem from not knowing any better. The way we approach a conversation either creates a defensive double down at all costs mentality, or it creates an actual healthy and constructive conversation between two ideologically opposed individuals. This is something that I needed to realize myself, as I genuinely regret how I approached and handled creators in the past. But I'm not the only one that's trapped in this cycle. In fact, if you look at the commentary giants, the people that are putting in millions of views a day, you start to see exactly how this platform feedback loop starts to break a creator's career. Let's look at the first example. Starting with the left, they call him the champagne socialist, Hasan Piker. Hasan, in my opinion, is the absolute pinnacle of the systemically incentivized grift I just talked about. He is frequently criticized for preaching about socialist values.
We gotta make sure that she taxes the rich.
And then contradicting them by virtue of his own massive wealth and lifestyle. Under core Marxist principles, one of the greatest sins is siphoning and profiting off of other people's work without making any personal contribution yourself. Yet, video essayists will spend weeks researching, scripting, and editing a video, while Hasan passively reacts to it while eating something and interjecting every few minutes. As the creator myself, it's very frustrating to watch. Now, a quick disclaimer on the socialism and wealth argument. I think they can absolutely coexist. Socialism doesn't automatically imply a ban on personal possession or individual success. It's a matter of scale and about preventing the ultra-rich from exploiting others to a degree where no amount of personal contribution can erase the damage they've caused. Personally, I believe in an adequate reward system for people that greatly contribute to society. I just want transparency, a basic acknowledgement of comparative privilege, and a basic motivation to help those in need. But with Hasan, his disregard or intentional ignorance of his own moral contradictions becomes painfully obvious just to appease this intensely anti-Western audience. We've seen this play out repeatedly through his inflammatory rhetoric, whether it's using the cracker slur and getting banned for it.
I can fucking say it, and you cannot ban me. I have the cracker pass.
Or downplaying 9/11 by claiming that the US deserved it.
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it, I'm saying it.
He later went on to his uncle's show to backtrack and explain the context behind the statement, but I decided to include an alter clip because it's funnier.
And so here we are. I'm living up to what I said about conservatives and progressives. We're having a conversation. You said America deserved 9/11. Did you mean that?
Yeah.
It has reached a point where human rights violations by foreign regimes are routinely ignored and actual terrorist groups are recklessly platformed and framed as revolutionary heroes.
Okay, this is a stupid question. Okay, you can preface it with that. Does he know what One Piece is?
No way!
Yeah.
That's sick. Yes, yes, dude. We think the Houthis, Ansar Allah, is doing what Luffy would do. You should tell him that.
Beyond the macro politics, I have a few major personal gripes with this approach. It ranges from his history of animal neglect with his dog,
And go, just stop.
to his binary black and white worldview that completely ignores the actual complexities of geopolitics.
I think China should just take Australia.
Yes.
I think China should be like, all right, you can have Taiwan, Australia is ours. I'm just saying.
He has an incredibly thin skin, instantly defaulting to cheap deflection tactics the second he is confronted or called out.
Yeah, and Destiny
It's like
can
I
kill
wish
people.
Destiny could just come in at the beginning and give us the right answer right away instead of making us
So we
wait.
didn't have to list a fucking Hasan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me
Like, we have the cheat sheet right here.
Honestly, like,
It's funny because like the only
it's
way
such a fucking thing to say. Like, I'm sorry, but like, if you can't comprehend the fucking shit that I'm saying, it's on you, okay? I'm doing as best as I'm doing.
Hey, yeah, Wes.
you said the R
Wes,
word.
Literally said the exact same thing that I just said. Like, what the fuck are you guys talking
You can
about?
say me Twitch and says it all the time.
Twitch then.
No, wait, relax. Hey, come on now, Wes.
Didn't bro shock his dog? I shocked your mother's pussy last night with my penis. She was like, oh my god, I can't believe it.
When you hold a platform of that size, the only responsible thing to do is approach a complex issue with deeply researched opinions and nuance. But his audience doesn't allow him to do that. His extreme positions are what made him rich, and his echo chamber is what made him fragile. And on an even more personal note, my late mom actually visited New York a few days before 9/11 happened. It was a disgusting tragedy that caused and is still causing the suffering of millions of people. It is deeply shameful watching a uniquely uniting global tragedy weaponized for personal gain and moral outrage. I still have family living in New York today, so while I'm not American myself, to also address all of those commenters who claim that I shouldn't be commenting on the US because I have no clue about it, I have a very personal interest in the welfare of that country, no matter how much I may dislike certain aspects of the culture and the politics. Now let's look at the other side of the aisle, and a prominent creator who makes even worse thumbnails than I do with even weirder facial expressions somehow. Asmongold went from streaming World of Warcraft to harboring a fascinating pivot toward becoming a full-time right-wing reactionary. Initially focused on criticizing gaming companies and the integration of DEI, his most popular and most profitable videos quickly became aggressive dunks on liberals and mainstream progressivism. He sensed a building resentment within his audience and ran with it. When his more nuanced videos underperformed, it became clear that his audience was bored and looking for blood. So he provided it, and by this point he may actually believe his own rhetoric. Just like Hasan, he suffers from a simplistic representation of complex topics to farm engagement off of an extreme audience.
No way a Russian went and said we fucked around and found out. Oh my god. Absolute fucking cinema.
He just packages his version as being honest and unfiltered. He plays the character of a simple man living in a cluttered room, despite holding millions in personal wealth, co-owning a massive streaming organization, and backing a tech company. He is doing pretty much the same thing Hasan does, just from the opposite corner. Interestingly, he chalks basic principles and morality up to elite-fed ideas.
People have like these opinions about like, oh, well, this is like my principles, like this is like my morality or whatever. I place like pretty much no value in like principles or morality. I think that these are things that these are top-down ideas that are given to you by the elites.
And while that sounds edgy and anti-establishment to his viewers, it actually results in a completely fluid, opportunistic worldview where his takes change based on whatever his chat finds most entertaining on any given day.
It is that simple.
Unsurprisingly, this pipeline has led to some pretty hefty controversies. For one, he completely demeaned Palestinian culture as inferior, calling them terrible people and callously dismissing the mass suffering of civilians.
I'm not going to cry a fucking river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a fuck. They're terrible people. These people are not your allies. They are not the same as us. They come from an inferior culture.
Are you starting to see the parallels yet? His obsession with anti-wokeness and corporate diversity initiatives has fostered a hyper-reactive community of online gatekeepers. Add to that his dehumanizing anti-transgender rhetoric, where he casually chalks identity up to mental illness. It is a chilling showcase of the exact endpoint of this platform radicalization pipeline. Personally, I don't like Asmongold for the reasons I outlined already. But there are a few major aspects as to why his content kills civil discussion and fosters an environment of pure toxicity. First, his gamification of geopolitics. Beyond the obvious loss of nuance, treating complex global issues like immigration as a simple one-way system loop is exactly how human empathy and structural realities get discarded.
But yeah, I mean, my actual viewpoints on it are very extreme. I think that we have a massive invasion and I would deport tons of people, and I'd do it with the military and the National Guard and everything else.
Just like Hasan, he has built an environment surrounded by yes-men validating his every shallow take, constantly reinforcing his internal bias, proving him right, and encouraging him to double down. And lastly, there's his cowardly, pseudo-scientific, centrist defense. The moment he is confronted by educated, informed individuals, he instantly defaults to his cheap, self-deprecating claim of just being an idiot streamer in a dirty room, and argues that no one should care about his opinions anyway. He weaponizes his own self-deprecation to dodge responsibility, despite knowing damn well that his voice shapes the minds of millions of young men. These two personalities are prime example of how an audience can turn a creator into an extremist of their own ideology. But what happens when a creator actively resists this engagement loop? For that, we have to look at one of the most beloved figures on the platform, and also one of my personal favorite YouTubers of all time, Hunter Hancock, aka Papa Meat. Papa Meat, or MeatCanyon, for his main animation channel, is a comedian and an artist. He carries a very raw 2000s style internet aesthetic and a brand of humor that can definitely be too edgy for some. And while I personally wouldn't label him as completely neutral, he's the closest thing to a centrist that we can find on YouTube right now. Ironically, that is also his greatest sin. His refusal to overtly pick a side, or worse, to completely demonize one. Combine that with his edgy jokes, you have a full-on YouTube criminal. Is it somewhat privileged to not be in a position where you have to pick a side? Maybe, but his purpose is pure, unadulterated entertainment. He provides a light-hearted, chaotic distraction from the cultural bloodbath. Yet, he still gets criticized relentlessly by the left as a misogynist just because he parodied Taylor Swift or made an offensive joke involving a woman, despite clearly holding progressive values himself. Notice how absolutely no one cares when he does the exact same thing to men. It is the exact loss of nuance that I talked about in the beginning. On the flip side, some people on the right seem to dislike him because of his public denouncement of ICE, or his progressive live and let live societal views. It's wild to watch someone so inherently uncontroversial get demonized because he's not extreme enough, while the left watches him like a hawk waiting for any minor slip-up or off-color joke to finally stamp him with a toxic label. The right tries to claim him as one of their own simply because he doesn't publicly bend the knee to corporate purity tests, all because he's actually problematic and refuses to detest an entire political demographic. All of this probably leaves you thinking, well, what the hell am I supposed to be then? Choosing a side gets you hated by the other 50% of the population, and not choosing a side gets you hated by everyone. To that, I say this. Be human. Do not do to others what you wouldn't want done to you. Have a basic sense of empathy and try to understand why these people are systemically incentivized to carry these radical, extreme, unhinged views. And in turn, just try to be better than them. Because in the end, what is this algorithm that fuels these creators and drives this intense divide? It's us. We are the ones consuming it. If we start shifting away from hyper-polarized outrage culture, we can actually make a difference. If we change our habits, they lose their financial incentives to create more outrage and polarization. That is how we win as humans. And this is where I'll stop for today. Thank you so much for watching, and please let me know what type of content you want me to cover going forward. And once again, let me apologize for my very stuffy nose. I hope you somehow made it to the end of the video. Thank you guys, take care.